So I'm on the ride back home from AMD's New Horizon event in Austin, Texas, where they showed off some hands-on demonstration of their new flagship Zen CPU. If you don't know what Zen is, it's the new architecture that AMD is going to be using in its upcoming CPUs, which is supposed to bring the same performance as the high-end Intel CPUs currently, but at a much lower price. So what did we get to see? Well, first we had a quick introduction from Jeff Cayley. So we had an introduction of Dr. Lisa Su, the president and CEO of AMD. And she talked a bit about what Zen meant and also why they chose the name Zen. So they chose it because it was a good harmony between performance and power consumption. And Zen is all about harmony. So she also introduced the name of the flagship 8-core, which is going to be called Ryzen. So we actually got some So we actually got to take home some Ryzen gear as well, which was pretty cool. So we also got a lot of details about the specs of it. So it's going to be 8 cores, 16 threads. No, not 18 cores. Have 20 megabytes of total cache, so that's pretty good. A 3.4 gigahertz base clock with an undetermined boost clock. They're still going to work on it, and we'll get the official boost clock in its launch early next year, possibly in January. And then we got some details about some of the technologies that it uses. So things to learn about how it's being operated to optimize efficiency and performance. It can actually detect what kind of cooling you are using based on, how hot is it getting at certain clock speeds and whatnot. So if you have really good cooling, it will kind of auto overclock in a sense. So that's a nice feature to have. And then they showed a couple of actual live demonstrations comparing it to the Intel's Core i7-6900K, which is the equivalently spec'd one, but at $1,100. So first they did a blender test, and Ryzen was a little bit faster, but seeing as this was AMD that chose this test, and it's within the margin of error, I'm just going to say that it is on par with the 6900K. They also showed Handbrake, a transcoding test, so that's going to be more applicable to me personally with video transcoding. And it actually finished 5 seconds faster than the Intel chip at 54 seconds. Now, we don't know exactly what it was transcoding. We do know the codec was Apple TV 3, or that's the format that it was using. But we do know that the Ryzen chip is going to be on par with the i7-6900K. We also got the TDP, so it's a 95-watt TDP, as opposed to the 140-watt TDP of the 6900K. So same performance, less power consumption, and less cost in terms of price. So then we moved on to some demos. We saw a VR demo, so they just showed a VR demo building a Zen PC, which I actually got to try out later, so video coming out for that soon. Next, we got to see gaming performance. We got to see, again, compared to the 6900K, and both machines were paired to the Pascal Titan X. So we saw some pretty impressive results at 4K. Again, everything is on par with the 6900K. We got to see an app use by a guy who makes video games. I actually have an interview of him, again, coming soon, so stay subscribed for that. So he found the performance of Zen in game development and 3D modeling to be quite impressive, and doing just high detail content, it was like butter, he says. So then we saw gaming and streaming. So streaming, as some of you guys may know, does require a lot of CPU. And so they had 3 PCs actually here that they were testing. So one of them had Ryzen, no problems there. 6900K, no problems there. And also a 6700K. So why in the world would they include an Intel quad-core in this test? By the way, the 6700K did not do well streaming the 4K content. It was very chuggy. So my suspicions are price. So a lot of rumors are speculating that Ryzen is going to be around $350, just like the 6700K, and including the 6700K in these tests, kind of, not officially, but it kind of confirms that we're going to see about that same price, but again, with the performance of the $1,100 CPU. So that was really cool. And then we kind of got some closing thoughts from Dr. Lisa Su. But wait, one last test that she decided to spoil us with, another gaming demo, but this time it was not with a Titan X, it was with a Vega GPU. So it was our first look, other than their event last week with some server cards. It was our first look at Vega with actual performance, and it performed great. And apparently there's a lot of technologies to optimize performance between Zen and Vega. So if you use both of them together, it's going to work better than using either one with a different card or CPU. So all in all, I was very impressed with Ryzen and its capabilities. We got a lot of new information and kind of confirming some things. So the only thing we don't know for sure really is the boost clock, but that's not really important in this case, and the actual MSRP, which we will find out in January, possibly at CES. So that's about it that happens. Make sure you stay subscribed to see the VR demo and the interview with the creative professional. And that's it from me.